we're back at it for the 2024 Barrett-Jackson collector car auction here in Scottsdale. This is the largest of Barrett-Jackson's series of auctions, and there are going to be many millions of dollars worth of cars sold over the next week or 10 days. And today we're going to the Future Collector Car Show presented by McGuire's on the Polo Field. So I'll take you guys over there here in just a minute. Let's get this party started. This might be my favorite car at the show so far. This is the 1958 Plymouth Savoy. It's a Christine recreation, so if you remember in the 1980s, I think 1983, Stephen King wrote a book called Christine that was about a haunted Plymouth Fury from this same era. Later was made into a full-length feature film. John Carpenter did that, rated R. It was a super awesome film, and cool to see this car restored as a tribute to the one in that movie. They've even got a booklet here illustrating some of the behind the scenes that made this car come to life. So if you've ever been to Barrett-Jackson, you know there are hundreds of cars sorted and organized into both indoor and outdoor holding lots. You'll find some of the higher end 6-figure to 7-figure cars inside in what they call the salon, and then you'll find the more everyday cruisers and hot rods and resto mods and unrestored survivors out here. So going to work our way over to what's called the Polo Field here, and that's where they'll have the roll-in taking place for the Future Collector Car Show. There's a car that likely needs no introduction to most of you, my friend Jay Fenning. Huge shout out to him for his beautiful NC1 Type S. So they're doing a few announcements over there at the booth, and I just finished filming some cars for the Classic Cars TV YouTube channel. We featured 5 different cars that are present today for the various upgrades and modifications that they have. This is a very sweet ride right here, Volkswagen. And so now we just kind of enjoy the scenery for a couple hours. Gonna go grab a bite to eat here shortly and do some sightseeing around the show field. So hopefully you guys can hear me, but welcome to Westworld of Scottsdale. I have with me my friend Eric. Say hello there. Hello. And this is going to be a little bit of a cool car to show you here at the Future Collector Car Show. You can see behind me there's a wide range of vehicles on display. This is the second year that the event has partnered with Barrett-Jackson, who is a world-renowned name in the collector car industry. And there's a TSX here that kind of caught my eye, and it's Eric's car, and I'm going to show you a little bit about what makes it special. So right at first glance, it's a very clean first year TSX. It's a 6-speed manual. Obviously, I'm partial to these. If you remember my channel, last year I restored an Arctic Blue 2006 CL9 chassis TSX. Loved that car, navigation and the whole nine. And so this car, while it looks relatively standard on the outside, Eric, let me have you pop the hood on this thing and we'll see what's going on in there. I'm gonna tell you there's a little bit of special sauce that my Honda and Acura enthusiasts are going to get a kick out of right here. Goodness gracious. Now that doesn't look very much like a K24. So obviously there is a custom power plant in this TSX. And guess what it came from? This was actually sourced from a 3.7 liter 2010 Acura RL. Mind-blowing that Eric was able to pull this off. And how did you do this?
Well, I'm an engineer, so I have the skills to do something like this.
He's a man with a plan, and it's very clear that he was not letting anything hold him back. And so, super amazing build, and he's got some subtle touches. Even had these Enki wheels powder coated to match the Acura logos perfectly all the way around. Getting a little bit of a reprieve from the DJ out there. Hopefully you can still hear me okay, but Eric is at the driver's seat now. We just started talking a little bit about some of what's going on in here. So these are actually aftermarket Recaro seats, but they fit using seat rails from the European Accord. And I don't know if you dare fire it up. I'd love to hear it, but if they harass you for it.
It's pretty quiet.
We might have to do a demo, a driving demo later. But aside from obviously what we see here, Eric, tell me a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes to make this all work.
Well, to make it work, the engine, the powertrain, there definitely needs to be some wiring modification, some chassis modification. The most challenging part of the swap was the cooling system, because on a TSX, the powertrain, you have less room between the powertrain and the radiator as you would in, say, like an Accord or a TL. So it was very challenging. I went through multiple iterations finding just the right radiator, and then custom designed the fan shrouds so that I could retain OEM motors and actual fan blades.
Wow, incredible, and it just speaks to the level of detail in the entire build. What's this display down here in the center stack?
That is an OBD2 gauge. That's actually something that I designed a number of years ago and was marketing for a little while. But it communicates with the ECU and retrieves all the information. So we have like oil pressure, coolant, engine coolant temperature, intake air temperature, and battery voltage.
Wow, amazing. And obviously I love the treatment with the instrument cluster. This looks like, is it an RSX wheel, or is this Momo actually, right?
This is a Euro R steering wheel, but it's the same, this same model steering wheel is also used in the Japanese version of the RSX, which is the
Integra
Type
right.
R. But this, the airbag is actually from an RSX because it fits right in there.
Right, super cool. And that's what's the best thing about this whole build. It's subtle, but it's also very wild. And so there's a look at the interior with the non-sunroof headliner, which is pretty wild. Not something you'll see, like I said, in a US market TSX. And 68,000 miles, what does that say, 69?
Yeah, 69K.
Wow, for a 20-year-old car, it's virtually brand new. And if you could smell it, it actually smells incredible too. Awesome. Eric's gonna fire up the J Series TSX just for the heck of it. And there you go. This is the showcase where I'll be part of a collector car, future collector discussion panel on that stage in 3 days. Here's my friend Tyler. That doesn't look like a Hoobie's Garage Hoopty. There's a pretty wild custom. This is a 5th gen Prelude. I've always liked these. Looks like it may be white, but has a very vivid wrap on it. And awesome car. Tell us a little bit about what is going on with this car.
This is obviously a 2000 Honda Civic. It has a 2019 Civic SI drivetrain. Weighs 2,500 with me in it, and I do drive it on the road course.
Oh my gosh. So come here and let's take a look at the interior of the engine bay. Obviously, it is a full race spec. Look at the seats, the buckets.
Yep, we completely stripped it. We had the interior repainted, caged. Engine bay was redid as well. We had the engine out.
Wow. And it's been a few years, but formerly there was a K24 swap Kia Soul driving around town, and it was her Kia Soul. So you can see how, well, that says it all right there. The soul of the Civic lives on in so many words. So super awesome build.
Thank you.
Continuing the tradition of very custom Hondas and Acuras, check out this RSX, says Garage 5 on the license plate, and it's got a lot going on here. I gotta show you guys this. Karen and Brian, they can say hi if they want, but this is a 93 Del Sol SI. Car behind me is starting up, but it's exactly like the one that I had a few years ago, except it has the spoiler and some subtle upgrades. It's got suspension and wheels on it, but 47,000 miles. One thing that this has that mine didn't are those cool floor mats. Do love the seat striping. That was the standard feature back in the day. But yeah, so these guys, when they got married in 1995, this is what she drove, and then he surprised her with one about a year ago. So this has been their kind of work in progress, modifying it with what they consider to be sort of period correct updates, and very cool result. Nice looking car. There's a car I can relate to in the visitor parking lot. So you didn't think I was going to show you a V6 swap first gen TSX without driving one, right? All right, Eric, the beast is mine for a few minutes. Whoa. That doesn't sound like my 06. So we'll keep this kind of short and sweet. I was getting a little bit of the nitty gritty from Eric on nuts and bolts about what makes this thing tick. So the most important piece of this puzzle is the motor. Obviously a 2010 RL J37. The transmission itself is sourced from a TL Type S 6-speed. Eric, real quick, I know you just walked through it offline, but nuts and bolts of the drivetrain, what else did I miss?
So the transmission has a different final drive gear in it. It's the 355 final drive gear, about an 8% reduction over the stock final drive that normally comes in a Type S. And it's got a custom clutch setup that I designed, and a custom aluminum lightweight flywheel. That pretty much covers it for the drivetrain.
Yeah. Has this thing ever seen a dyno?
Yes. This has been dynoed twice. The most recent time was actually probably 4 years ago on a DynoJet dyno. It dynoed 318 horsepower at the wheels.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. I want to say my stock 06 K24 was 205. So you got a pretty hefty gain there. The thing that kind of shocks me about this car is just the overall OEM feel to it. If you gave this car to just somebody on the street and said, what do you think? They would probably never question it wasn't, completely Honda engineered. I wonder why this is metered on a Sunday.
It does seem kind of odd.
Yeah. It just means I'm going to get a good green light here. Those front tires can't even keep up with it. Holy shit. That is wicked. Okay.
Sorry, I forgot to warn you.
I was like,
and there's the fuzz.
Yeah, I think grip is your biggest weakness there.
It is.
Holy moly.
This car has 255 width tires, and they are not enough. They're also sticky tires, but still not enough.
God, it's just seamless transmission. And everybody knows, like, this generation TSX was so beloved for the balance, the fit and finish. It was the last of sort of the Japanese-built J-Series VIN cars, and for Honda to put the Accord name on this in other markets really spoke to how confident they were in the chassis. And to nobody's surprise, a lot of these are still on the road. Although, do we have any idea how many exist in this this has been done maybe once or twice. Who else has ever even done this?
I'm actually the first person to successfully swap a V6 into this chassis. This was done mostly in 2012. So since then, there's been a few people I've seen, a couple forum posts and some YouTube videos, but I think it's getting much more popular. Once a few people find out that it's feasible, then everyone else that wants a lot of torque in their TSX kind of jumps on board.
Yeah, well, it's feasible for A, the right amount of money, and B, the right amount of time. And I'm sure there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into the whole thing behind the scenes.
Yes, there's actually a lot of R&D, a lot of engineering, reverse engineering, experimentation with different Honda parts. I don't know, maybe it's my automotive background, but I prefer OEM parts. So this car has as many OEM parts where possible, and just kind of minimal actual aftermarket parts.
Amazing.
Rev limiter's at 7,300. Go.
All right. Oh my God. That's just not even worth words. I can't talk right now. That is a sleeper. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. This guy's not gonna let me in. I'm gonna let him go. Unbelievable, Eric. What have you? This is the world's nastiest TSX build. And it just keeps pulling.
Yep.
That's insane.
This particular version of J37 was probably the best one Honda ever made.
And that exhaust, I mean, that's a full custom exhaust, like front to back, the whole thing.
Yep, it's all custom J-pipe. The mufflers are the magic.
Yeah.
So that gives it that kind of like higher frequency resonance, a little bit more like a exotic sports car. And but there's like no drone.
Yeah. Well, I can't thank you enough. This is like icing on the cake of an already phenomenal, Acura meetup. So I catch my breath for a second. Pretty awesome. Unbelievable car. I didn't even know this thing existed, and it's here in Arizona. And needless to say, I'm going to be calling upon Eric the next time I need some custom build advice for any future ride. Incredible what he's done with this awesome TSX. So awesome car, and many thanks to him for letting me take the wheel of this wild machine.